Yo, what's good?
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. TSF Entertainment in the building. Joined tonight by Jack of Jordans,
Yo, yo.
Miss Really B TV,
Hi.
and the Juggernaut of Souls.
What it do?
So we're a little bit late this week with our review, but tonight we're going to talk about Raising Kanan. It's season 2, episode 204, Pay the Toll. So what y'all think about the episode?
I think it was decent. I do think that a lot of truth, especially among the kids with Kanan and Juke. I definitely think that a lot of truth is about to come to the light, as we were talking about in previous episodes and a few weeks ago, that it's looking like Rock did a lot of lying, man, and the truth is about to come out. It's all coming to a head. I sense.
I agree.
I think everybody will eventually turn on Rock. I think the episode was great, but I think at some point she definitely gonna have to reap what she sowed. The lies are beginning to catch up. People are beginning to find out things for themselves.
Pay her toll.
And yeah, she's definitely gonna lose her most precious jewel at this point, and I see it coming, and that's Kanan.
Yeah, I feel like this was a foundation episode. It wasn't a lot of action, but it was a lot of foundation for where we're going. We're almost midway through the season. You know, we know how these shows go, these power shows. We're almost midway through the season. So it's like the climbing, you know, they're building everything up. And then we usually get that break after the fifth and between the fifth and sixth episode. And then like those last 4 episodes are like boom, 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 boom. And so I feel like that's kind of where we're going. We saw a lot of foundation in this, and like you said, it's all roads lead to Rock. Roads lead to Rock. So yeah, I agree.
I agree with everything that's been said. I thought it was a pretty decent episode myself. And definitely a foundation episode, that's for sure, really. Lee. A lot of things happen in this episode that you probably need to put a pin in, because we're definitely going to get some callback to later on. A lot of different things. So the episode starts off with Rock's team. They loading up some work to take out the jersey, which we knew from the previous episode that this whole jersey situation ain't really the best move for Rock to be making right now. But you know, nobody tell Rock what to do. So she gonna do
right.
her own thing.
Didn't Marvin at one point kind of give that advice and advise that, like, hey, yo, we might want to, before we go out,
do some research.
Let's find out what's what. And she just, no, I'm gonna do me.
But can I ask a question? And I forgot. So y'all probably remember. Was Royale the one that gave her this?
That's what I was just getting ready to say. Yes,
Okay.
that's the problem. On the strength of the fact that you probably should have looked into this because of where the intel came from. Like,
Right.
You got this information from Warrell, like, and you didn't see fit to kind of look into this and check some shit out before you pack up and head out to Jersey.
I don't understand why she's putting so much trust in Warrell off the break. Like, why does he not have to earn? Like, I understand her thought process and offering him a job and keeping your enemies close, keeping an eye on Unique. I understand that part of it, but why are you giving him so much? You can give him a job without giving him the keys to the kingdom. You have given him your blueprint on everything as far as how you're running things in the buildings. And now you want to take his word on a place you've never done business before outside of your comfort zone? That's crazy to me.
I think Rock might know that though. I think that's why Rock giving up that information or letting them see stuff. I think she got a plan. I think I think she's too smart for that. Honestly, I don't want to sell Rock short.
She should
come
be.
down to her. I think she's too smart for that. Like, that's too obvious.
My thing is exactly what I said was going to happen, and we're seeing it unfold. And I think it's going to be even more damage that's going to be done because Jack, you said back in the first episode when Unique saved that dude in jail, we knew that we were not going to see the end of him. We knew that there was going to be more dealings with him. And the mere fact that Warrell went to go see Unique that night and told Unique, look, I'm done with you. I ain't rolling with you. I think there was an off-camera conversation that didn't happen on camera where where Unique kind of fed him this information about the New Jersey Connect. Because if that be the case, if Warrell and them had a connect in Jersey or had any type of knowledge prior to, why weren't they serving in Jersey? Why weren't they working? So I feel like Unique fed him this information for him to turn around and feed it to Rock, and that's exactly what happened. So we get to Jersey, they're in a box truck. The work is well hidden in the walls of the box truck, and a guy just happened to be crossing the street in the middle of the night and stops in the middle of your truck to tie his shoe. You're not suspicious of this? Man, I would have hit that dude and kept on driving. And dude gets robbed. He gets beat down in the street, and they messed him up pretty bad. And it was a message to send back to Rock.
And I feel like they should have known then that it was somebody in their camp, because there was nothing obvious about that truck. Nothing.
I was about to say the same thing. There was no
they should have known
indication
then that something was up. It would be different if I could see if they was rolling in something that maybe looked like obvious or whatever, but nah.
You knew where the truck was at, where the truck was going.
Right. In the middle of the night, dude didn't look obvious. He wasn't all flashy enough. He just riding through. The truck had spray paint all over it. Like, there was nothing that would lead you to think there was drugs inside of that truck. Like, that's crazy.
Right. There was no entourage or anything. It was just nothing. It was nothing obvious about there was drugs in that truck. You're absolutely right. This would be no different than any other truck riding through.
Right.
But they knew exactly which truck it was, where the intersection that truck was going to be at. Yeah, inside job. I mean, their radar should have went up after that. So it switched to Rock and Cartier. They're at this art gallery or museum, or it looks like it's some type of makeshift art gallery or whatever. And Cartier is an expert on art. He knows all about Basquiat and Picasso, and he's just a connoisseur of art. I'm like, oh my God. Please do not make this Rock's new love interest. Please. I'm not
he a connoisseur of words. I think his words is more so selling than anything, but I kind of like Cartier.
He's a used car.
I think they might go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think they may end up together. Like, I feel like they might end up sleeping together, but it ain't no love interest. It's gonna be business. It's gonna be, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and you know what? By the way, I need a little itch scratching too in other areas. But I definitely think that he's gonna help Rock elevate her business to that next level.
Well, we already heard
Clean the money.
Advice, about washing the money. He was like, "What's the biggest problem that you have that you can't seem to deal with?" And she was talking about drama. He was like, "No, think." And she was like, "Well, clean my money. Right now, I got a rat problem. I got so much money now, my rats are eating it," or whatever the case may be. So I like Cartier because Cartier is going to take them to the next level as far as business. But I feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop with Cartier. He's just like a knight in shining armor right now. He's whispering in Rock's ear, giving her good advice. He's whispering in Lulu's ear, giving him good advice. He's too good to be true. They're going to have to pay a toll with dealing with him too. This is the perfect name for this episode, Pay the Toll, because I feel like there's a lot of tolls that need to be paid, and Rock is going to have to pay the majority of them. But I feel like everything is not on the up and up with this Cartier. This dude just kind of slither on in out of nowhere.
I like Cartier, man.
I agree.
He's smooth.
I agree.
Like
I would tell you what, I don't think we see it this season. I think Cartier is back next season. I think whatever is going on is going to carry on. I don't think it's an immediate thing. I think it's something that's going to build.
It's just his presence, the way he was being introduced into the story, he just kind of dropped out of nowhere. He's kind of like old dude from book 2, the dude that Monet was dealing with. I can't remember what his name was. He just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And a friend to the family, aiding the family, whatever. I think there's a bigger motive with Cartier. I don't know if Cartier ends up taking over Rock's business or organization or whatever, but I think that there is going to be a bigger cost to pay with dealing with Cartier.
Yeah, because he let her know that's how he washing his money is through the art gallery. Like, yeah,
Yep.
I can talk the talk, but I talk the talk because this is my business. Because this is how I clean my money. You know.
And yeah, I got that stuff that's going on in the streets. However, the other side to that is I'm also a businessman, and I have to move like a businessman. I have to speak like a businessman. I have to act like a businessman. So, he's teaching Rock how to do something that she doesn't know how to do right now, because all she knows how to move in the streets. She don't know how to flip that switch and move a different way.
Right.
So we finally get the answer to who Kanan goes to see in jail. It's Vernon Stark. It's
Uncle Vern.
Uncle Vern.
Uncle Vern.
He is a good counterbalance, Xavier. He is a good counterbalance to Symphony, but I think there was more interest in the story between Symphony and Rock than. Well, I guess I'll take that back, because Cartier is what Symphony can't be. Cartier can be both. He can be her business acquaintance as well as a personal acquaintance.
Uncle Vern ain't shit.
Yeah, Cartier might be running girls too. He might be pimping too. There's more to him. There's so many layers with him, because he's got his hand in so many different things, as you see with the art, as you see.
And I think that's what I like about his character.
You see with the drugs, he's got his hands in multiple different streams.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I like about his character. Like, you don't know with him. Like he come in here talk about music, then he talk about his paintings, and then he subliminally talked about drugs.
Yeah, very.
I like it. I like the way he moved. It might be some type of hidden agenda with his movement, but I like it.
Yeah. I don't think I think he may be an ally to the family right now, but I think eventually he's going to become a problem that the family is going to have to try to figure out how to eliminate.
A formidable foe.
That might be what brings Lulu and Rock back together. If he ends up infiltrating both of them, that might be what brings them back together to have a common enemy to get rid of him. Because there's clearly going to be a separation there. There's clearly that rift is going to get bigger.
Yeah. It's growing. It's growing by the episode. The terror is getting wider and wider and wider.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it too. So this was an unnecessary scene, even though we needed it. But we already know, and I don't understand why they're spending so much time on this doubt back and forth. We already know that Kanan doesn't believe Rock. We already know the truth. So I don't understand why they're continuing to develop this story that it could possibly be that Defcon. I mean, they're going to extremes. Rock is going to so much extremes to carry a lie. This dude didn't even know who his nephew was when he showed up. He's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
But I feel like, I'm gonna be honest, it wouldn't have been an unnecessary scene if he had said something.
Go ahead.
But that's what I'm saying. If he had said something, it could have been a very important scene, because just as easily as he was like, "What you mean? What you mean? That's your daddy. He was running girls since he was 5 years old." If he had just as simply said, your mom, your mom did us a solid by looking out for my brother like that and making sure his reputation on the streets was good. Like, if he had alluded to the fact that he knew his brother was gay, and that he didn't even have to come right out and say it, but if he alluded to the fact that, we know that Rock was the cover and she looked out, she's a soldier, like your mother's a real one, and she had to come right out and say it. He didn't have to come right out and say it, but then it would have kind of then Kanan would have left there with something. But that was waste. Like, there was no purpose to that scene at all.
It was a waste. It was a big waste. And you know what? Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Maybe that's exactly what I was looking for right there, really, B. If they would have went that direction where Vernon would have told Kanan, like, "Listen, I know you got questions about your father and everything, but your mom, she's a real one. She held it down for us or whatever. We got mad love for Rock. Rock always puts some on my books," or whatever the case may be. But it sounds like there has been no interaction. There's been no dealings with Rock or whatever. And, because he begging Kanan to put money on his books or whatever the case may be. And you're right. I think they could have went a different direction with that story arc. But I didn't feel it for that scene. And that's exactly what it was, Xavier. It was trailer bait because from the first viewing of the trailer, we just automatically assumed that was Defcon. We were going to get so many answers about Rock, and we were going to find out, how Defcon ran the organization and everything. And so now he's presumably dead, I guess.
Well, because but I thought all along they had said he was dead. That's why I was confused.
I thought
they said Defcon was dead.
I have been screaming that from day one too, that I thought he was dead.
So that's where I was confused. So my thing was, you didn't really, for somebody like me, I was confused more about, did I misunderstand? Like, I mean, we could have easily just went back and looked at the first episode because I know they said it in the first episode, but I just didn't do it. But I was like, I know they said that. Well, I thought I knew that they said that man was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or not around anymore at the very least.
Yeah, because I know he went to jail, but I thought they said he died in jail. Because remember when Detective Howard last season, when he checked Kanan's date of birth, he was looking at Defcon's criminal record, and he knew that Defcon was he knew the math. As soon as he saw the dates, he knew the math, and that's what he even told Rock. He said anybody that can add and subtract will figure it. Like, I don't know why nobody figured it out before, but dude was in jail. Like, he couldn't have been the father.
Yep.
Right.
So we get to the studio, and the soundboard is gone. The whole soundboard is gone.
That don't make no sense either.
At all. And so Lulu walk in, he's like, what's going on here? And Crown Camacho comes in eating a bowl of cereal. Does he live there at the studio? I mean,
I get
he come in eating a bowl of cereal, and he's just casual about it. He's like, oh yeah, I had some debts I had to take care of. I had some bills I had to pay. So, yeah, I guess I pawned. What do you pawn the soundboard?
But it doesn't make sense on a couple of levels. Level one is Lulu not paying attention to the books to know that they were in financial trouble. Problem two, if Lulu was paying attention and they weren't in financial trouble, I'm jacking you because I know that you snorting cocaine. So are you spending my money in ways that's not like, what are you doing with the money? And then my reason number three is, okay, so why didn't you tell me we were that? Like, why didn't you tell me it was this bad? And if they had the conversation, like you said, it was an off-camera conversation that they should have had on camera.
I agree.
Because then it would have made sense.
So I don't think so. First of all, you get rid of the soundboards. You're not really doing, like, what are you doing? You're just keeping the lights on. I really don't see too much business. Right. I really don't see too much business going through there, like engineers and stuff like that actually, come and use your studio so you could generate money. Only thing we see is this new singer we saw twice. We seen Jukebox in there, and who else? We ain't seen nothing else.
And that's it.
I think this is part of the plan that him and Rockton came up with, because you see where he had to go. He had to go to Rock to get the money.
I think that was.
But I'm still side-eyeing Lulu. Hey, Miss Honey.
Hi.
I'm still side-eyeing Lulu.
Miss Honey, what's going on?
I miss y'all.
Well, we missed you too, Miss Honey. We missed you too. It's hard to get us together when one person is off, when we have a day off, when we have like somebody on vacation or somebody's at work or something. We have to get recalibrated. So we run a little behind, but we here.
I was proud of you though for taking some time off.
Yeah.
We can't all be like Crystal, she be on vacation all the time.
Who? I don't know who that is.
All the time, just be living the life.
We know a certain somebody's a jet setter and constantly on vacation and out of the country and stuff. So
multiple countries.
Yeah.
I don't know who y'all talking about. So
I know exactly who they talking about.
No, you don't. I mean, you might, but I don't know.
But going back to Crown Camacho, see, I kind of look at it a little bit differently. I don't think that he sold a soundboard to pay any bills. Part of me feels like, there's two theories I'm holding on to. The first is I do think that's him and Rock in cahoots, that they're trying to make problems for Lulu to run him back to the streets.
Of
The
course, most
second part
definitely.
is I felt like he sold that soundboard to kind of give Famous the rest of the money he needed for that apartment. Because out of nowhere, the last time we saw, they didn't have enough money for him to get the apartment. All of a sudden, this episode, he has the apartment. And not only that, who shows up? Crown shows up. So part of me kind of feels like the soundboard was sold to get Famous the rest of the money to get that apartment. But then I'm also kind of leaning more so towards Fade that this is a scheme between him and Rock to try to make problems for Lulu to get him out of that studio and back in the street.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're bleeding him. They're bleeding him out and forcing him to have to go to Rock.
And
that's why I said I wonder if that new soundboard is going to
to
get gone too.
Or is it going to be Lulu's going to have to pay a toll to Cartier for that soundboard? Cartier
He definitely he owes Cartier for that soundboard, and that he definitely does.
It ain't just money. It ain't just money. It's gonna be a favor. It's gonna be something that Cartier is gonna collect on.
People like Cartier don't care about the money. It's favors. They collect favors.
Yep, on down the line.
Exactly, because as long as you owe him a favor, he always got you.
Yeah, because he don't need the money. He doesn't need your money
at all.
Or it could be that Cartier is going to use this to strong arm Lulu into getting that girl's royalties. That Z
right
to get that music. There's going to be something he going to call back for. He going to call back for something.
I think the overall goal is to put Lulu between a rock and a hard place. I think Rock wants him to be like. I think Rock wants him to be like, you know what, this whole studio thing is too hard. My ish is getting stolen, and I'm losing money. I'm not making money. I'm just going to go back to the streets. And Camacho's thing is like, oh yeah, the streets is where you need to be. Give me my studio back. I can handle my studio, which he's, we haven't seen him doing a lot of tooting. Season 1, we saw Crown doing a lot of coke. We haven't seen him do it at all in this season. Not to say he's not doing it, but at the same time, he's moving real slimy. He's definitely going to be the reason why Fame turns into a crackhead. He's going to be the reason why. He's using the whole family, really.
Yeah.
He's using Rock to get rid of Lou. He's using Fame, for one reason or another. He's an opportunist. What I'm afraid of is it's going to backfire and Lou's going to end up dead.
The more and more as this season progresses, I honestly do feel like Lulu could be a casualty this season.
It's starting to look like it. I mean, he's looking real ashy, dry. His lines, he's coming out like a sucker. His lines is playing him out like a sucker. Like the script is playing him, for the sucker. It just feels like Lou is not gonna make it through this season.
He's fodder.
I feel like, and again, I know that we keep with the reality of that. We know that this show is probably gonna go about 2 more seasons. Like Stars is, we know that there's whatever beef is between Stars and 50 Cent, but assuming that works itself out, we know the show's not gonna get canceled. Like, forget all that. The show's not getting canceled. So I agree. There's got to be a major character loss. Last season everybody miraculously lived. Even though I don't know why they kept Scrap alive just to kill him in the 2nd episode, but whatever. But everybody miraculously lived. But I agree. I feel like somebody's gonna have to go this season, and it's not going to be Marvin because we got to flesh out this Marvin storyline with Jukebox and Kenya and Rock. Right. So I don't think it's going to be Marvin, but I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Lulu. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. And you're right.
Yeah, he's getting played out like a sucker too much.
Yeah, he's getting played out like a sucker too much. And we didn't lose any major characters season 1. And right. It's time for us to get a major death at this point. It's time. I think it'll be towards the end of the season. I think it might be it might have something to do with these Italians. So we'll see what happens. Marvin gets the call Marvin gets the call about the work getting
That's better.
kidnapped in Jersey. And he's like, listen, call Lulu because I can't deal with this. Rock got me up north taking Kanan to go see his uncle. And like he can't deal with this right now. Lulu get the call, but as usual, Lulu ain't got time to be bothered. So I think it was a very important conversation that Marvin and Kanan had when Kanan got back in the car. But I think it was more so Marvin talking to Kanan, but he was really talking to Jukebox. But he was talking to Kanan for Jukebox because he was basically like, listen, we ain't the perfect family. We ain't doing it right. We ain't always got it right, but we here. We care about you. It's the family that's here that matters. So that was kind of like, speaking to the fact that, Jukebox out here searching for a mama and, not really giving him a chance for forgiveness. And everybody's entitled to forgiveness, no matter how much wrong they do. If a person have on their heart that they want to ask for forgiveness, I mean, they have that right. Now, I'm not saying what Marvin done is a forgivable situation or whatever the case may be, but Marvin needs to address his issue with Jukebox and quit talking around it and quit thinking that actions are going to get her to forgive him, because it's going to take more than him painting her room and giving her a new karaoke machine for her to forgive what he's done
She
to
ain't
her.
trying to.
He
She,
did such a nice job, though. He did. He did.
Speaking of
But he was just like, Daddy's my cup too. And daddies deserve to be forgiven too. It's like, okay, you're projecting, Marvin. You're projecting.
It's always on his mind, and we've seen this pretty much from the first episode that he's living in regret.
It's
You know,
weighing on him. It's
weighing on
weighing on him. But that's why I said, pulling yourself away from someone is so much more of a punishment than anything you can do physically. Anything you can say verbally, to say nothing, to speak, not to speak to them, not to speak their name. It's like the telltale heart. It's something that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a huge punishment. And the fact that she just won't even give him the sound of her voice is torture for him. But I think it's also forcing him to try to do better.
You say that in your review, and it's also like what you said in your review too. That can have the desired outcome, and it can have an unexpected outcome too. That's silent treatment. So, in this case, we don't think it's going to have the afterthought desired effect, because we know that Marvin's not going to kill his daughter. But sometimes that can be a double-edged sword too with that.
Oh yeah, now it's like Chinese water torture. You got to be real careful with it. But what I like about the Marvin character is it's changed the way he does things across the board.
Yeah,
he's still having these little temper tantrums, but even the way he's handling business, the way he's talking to Rock, like, let's step back for a minute, let's think for a minute. It's showing him you can't have this spontaneous. You can't just fly off the handle and react. You know what I mean? Like, it's teaching him to take a beat, even with the anger management. I mean, he's being real passive aggressive in that setting. At the same time, he's listening.
Right.
He's paying attention. Yeah. Ultimately, I think he feels like it'll help him.
Go ahead, really.
No, I was gonna say I agree that we definitely are seeing him putting efforts across the board. He was so proud of himself last week when he ain't beat up the dude in the wheelchair. Like, he really was proud of himself. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that he is put right. I do think he's putting those things, and we see a scene next week where he's actually sitting down and talking to the counselor. And I don't even think it's. I mean, obviously, it's a man, woman. We know that there's attraction there, but I think he's sincere and like, listen, I need to fix this with my daughter. Like, I really need to fix this with her. Like, I don't. And because, people who like him that go scorched earth, you know what I mean? I get mad and I just throw things. I destroy things, whether it's people, whether it's things. And then when I'm over it, why everybody else ain't over it? Why y'all still mad? Yeah, we still mad. What the, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, he needs to understand that. Now, on the flip side, as the person who used to be like Jukebox, I could never speak to you again. I could listen. Jukebox is me. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, you could speak to me and I'd be like,
and you know it's me.
So, but what I learned now that I'm older, what I learned is that most times that hurt me just as much as it hurt that person. Not in the sense of what they did to
it
me,
takes so much
but
energy. It takes away so much energy.
A lot of energy. It's exhausting.
And I think that's what Jukebox is, and what Jukebox has to understand. It takes a lot of effort to stay that angry. Her seeing her room, that meant something. She just can't allow herself to give him the satisfaction yet. But
she's not ready. She's not ready. But that was a very traumatic experience.
Right. She's not, and that goes, I mean, I ain't trying to go down the rabbit hole, but that goes back to Black folk and therapy. They need some family counseling. Like Jukebox needs to be with him when they're talking these things out, because the reality of the situation is his reaction was fucked up, right? But is he the first parent to feel some kind of way to find out that his child was not who they wanted their child to be, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's my child ain't as smart as I thought they were going to be. I have a student right now. He told his father he don't want to play football no more, right? Father probably thought he was going to be the next NFL player, living his dreams. And literally his father has taken away all of his electronics. He was like, yeah, I don't have my phone. I don't have my Xbox. I don't have nothing. Why? I told my dad I didn't want to play football. What? So like you're punishing him because he's made a decision. He don't want to do this to himself anymore. It's his body that's getting beat up. It's his. So I think it's both sides of that.
Because people are trying to live through their children vicariously. Yep.
Right.
And that's the thing you got to realize with that is like, that should be a one self-choice, and then two, that should be something that's made more fun in any aspect. Only like 1% of people who play sports go pro. So
sometimes the worst thing you could do is take things personally.
Yeah.
Especially when it's other people's choices. Yeah, it's other people's choice.
Exactly. And I think with parents, parents only want the best for their kids. I'm sorry to be going down the rabbit hole, but I had a friend who they were like, it's not that I have a problem with my child being gay. I have a problem with how I know the world is going to treat my gay child. And as a parent, it's not always about, I don't care that my son is gay, but I do care that my son is going to be hurt because he is gay. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes it's not homophobia. It's really, oh my God, like I know what that means. I know the decision that my child, not decision, because I believe people are born gay, but the decision to live in that lifestyle. You know what I mean? So, it's not to go, like I said, not to go too far in the rabbit hole, but there are a lot of layers to the Marvin. I say all that to say that's why I don't think Marvin's going to die this season. It's just so much better.
Well, you know what? Fixing that room up, that's therapy. I'm sure when he was in that room and he saw the holes in the walls and he had destroyed all her stuff just to pick it all up and replace it, that was therapy. He was like, I mean, that little smile on her face, she was like, oh, he put it back. That meant something to her.
Yeah.
Although he wounded her in a way, she wasn't allowed to let him in just yet. I think she wanted to.
Yep. She's afraid.
She wanted to.
She's afraid.
Again, as somebody who used to be that person, you want to long before you allow yourself to. So she wants to let it go. She wants to forgive him. But she feels very angry and remember, she's still mourning Nicole. Like she is still writing love songs to this girl. So like she's dealing with a lot. and now she's about to find out that one person that she's dealing with, she could trust has betrayed her too. Because I think that's coming probably in the next 2 episodes.
Agreed.
Who's betraying her trust?
I think Rox. I think this whole story about why her mother left is a lie. I think
that's what I
Rock
was
did
saying.
it. I think Rock
that's about to
sent her
come to
mother
a
away.
head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rock sent her
that's about
mother
to come to
away
a head. That's coming out.
and probably threatened
Yo,
her.
did you see the way she acted when she said, "I saw my mother"?
Exactly, and that's what confirmed it for me. I was like, "Oh, Rock's scared." She was like, "Well, what'd she say?" You know how Rock do. What'd she say?
I think the biggest emotion that Jukebox is living with in regards to Marvin's situation is fear. She's afraid of him. She is afraid of him.
If you ever been jumped on by a parent, even a sibling, it's horrible. It's
resonates.
horrifying.
Yeah.
It resonates. So, even though she kind of want to let this go, she's afraid to, because she don't want to let her guard down too soon right now, because it almost looked like she wanted to respond to Marvin's comment about, you're back home or whatever the case may be. It almost seemed like a sense of relief that I still have a home or whatever, but too soon.
But not only that, but Marvin, again, I think Marvin handled that wrong too. Like for him to just jump to the, "Oh, you back home."
The delivery.
And I understand he was excited. Like, I get it. He was happy to see her. He was excited. I get it. But
also, he made the room all better, so he felt like
I think
that made it all better.
I think it was too much for him.
Yeah, too much too soon.
Yeah.
Yep. Too much too soon.
I'm excited though. I love this. To me, this is really good, rich dialogue too. Like, it's a good, very real thing. Back in the day, that it was nothing for your parents to jump on you. You know what I'm saying? Or to whop you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very real thing. And I think the character who plays Jukebox, she's doing a good job emoting those feelings. And for the most part, she's on her own in these scenes. There are times where she is talking to Kanan, but Kanan didn't even remember. He was like, "Oh, that's right, you did say you found your mama. How did that go?"
He's dealing with finding his daddy, so he got some stuff he's dealing with too.
But the thing about it, going back to what you were saying, though, Miss Honey, you're right. She carries the scene herself, even with her mannerisms, with her emotions, her actions. She's doing a very good job with this character. This is way more than I expected to receive out of the Jukebox character from how she was introduced in Regular Power. When she was introduced in Regular Power versus what we're seeing here, it is totally unexpected, and I'm loving it. I'm loving what we're getting with Jukebox.
I agree. Yeah. It's definitely different than what we expected. I'm with you on that one.
So, speaking of Jukebox, she gets up the courage to go back to her mama's house, and she rings the buzzer this time. I thought that after she rung the buzzer and Kenya answered, that she was going to take off.
I thought she was going to run off too. Yeah.
Yeah, but she did. She went on in.
Gave a first and last name.
Yep, Laverne Thomas, your child.
This is Laverne Thomas. Yeah, she's like 555-62399 is my social security number.
And my date of birth.
Yeah.
In case there's gonna be any confusion.
You know what? I'm mad she died too, Xavier. I especially how and why she died and by whose hand she died. I probably could have accepted her dying in Power if it wasn't at Kanan's hand. If it wasn't at Kanan's hand, I don't know how they're going to make that right.
Now that I see how alone she was, even having a lot of family around her, but still being so alone and lonely. Even the Kanan we saw in Power really didn't
exactly.
Really wasn't invested in her still. As an adult, he wasn't invested in her. He was never really invested in her.
But if you go back to that, he was fearful of her. And you remember the girlfriend. The girlfriend even said that, "I don't know what it is about you, because I've never seen her let anyone come over here. I've never seen her care about anyone. She's never mentioned anything about family before. So, you got to be somebody very special to her." But he was fearful of Jukebox. So I think on down the line, we're going to see more and more of Jukebox and her just being volatile, out there wilding in these streets. But the conversation that she had with her mother at the brownstone was very important. It was very important because Jukebox needed answers from her mother's perspective because she had gotten answers from Rock. She had asked the question of Rock, well, why did my mom leave or whatever the case may be? Rock gave her version of the story. But if you notice when Kenya told her version of the story, it was very similar to Rock's. So is this the story that Rock has told her that this is what you tell if anyone asks? Because I don't feel like it was genuine. I do not feel like that was the honest answer.
I agree. I already told you. I think that it's a lie. I think that's the story that she's supposed to tell. I absolutely believe, but I don't think Rock knew she was back in New York though.
No, she did. She seemed very off put by that. She seemed to be very off guard, caught off guard by that.
Yeah.
She did, and she definitely didn't seem pleased by it.
It definitely sounded like it was a programmed answer.
It was a program answer. Yep.
Yeah, like I'm gonna drill this into your head because if you don't say this is what's gonna happen to you.
And if anybody asks, this is what you say.
Well, what's crazy is she asked about Marvin, but she didn't ask about Rob.
She didn't.
I wondered did Rock
she
even.
didn't.
I wondered did Rock even put it in the head of Marvin that that his girl was messing around with the New York Knicks basketball team or whatever.
You know, we said that. I
wondered if Rock even had something to do with that conversation.
We wonder how did Marvin come about gaining that knowledge? Was that fed to him, or if that was something he experienced with her? Because her story seems to be slightly different than what Lulu's and Marvin's conversation was about her. Because it sounded like to me she went off to LA just like Famous Sister went off to LA to try to pursue a music career, and it didn't pan out. And she might have got into some shit while she was out there in LA. But I don't think that she ran off with anyone to LA. I think that
she went to LA when Rock sent her ass away. I think Rock gave her some money, told her to get the hell out of town, and that's when I don't think she voluntarily went to LA. I think that was the choice after she basically was told get the hell out of town.
Or she was gonna be unalive.
Right. And that doesn't mean that Kenya was innocent. Kenya might have been out there wilding and doing, you know what I mean? Kenya probably got a pass too. Like I ain't saying she innocent. But I just think it's something because wasn't that around the time that Marvin was getting high? Maybe she blamed Kenya for Marvin's drug addiction. Maybe
Kenya introduced him to it.
Yeah. Right. Or maybe Marvin fell in love with her and he was leaving the business for her. Like, Rocks, it could be anything that it might sound irrational to us, but to her, it makes sense. Like, oh, you was gonna leave, she was gonna take you away from the business. Like I couldn't let her do that. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like what we seen Ghost try to do with Holly back in Power. You remember when he didn't want to really kill Holly because Tommy was so in love with her or whatever.
But he wanted her out the way.
Off. He tried to pay her off and make her go away or whatever. So
and we know how they like to retell the same stories in Power.
Yeah, Rock, whatever the reason is, the root.
See, that's why I was trying to figure out what the age difference between Juke and Kanan is. Because
a year or two.
Okay.
Maybe a year or two.
Because I'm like, I wonder when she ran Kenya off, was it to get Juke? And then she had her own child.
Maybe. That could be.
But it's probably more plausible what really was saying.
You might be onto something with that because Marvin out here in these streets with a child. She didn't have a child because she was with a man that she was being a beard for. So, she didn't have that opportunity to be that mother that she probably wanted to be. So maybe that's the real reason why she ran, going back to your comment, Xavier, maybe that's the real reason why she did run Kenya off was, I want your child. Because even now, even when she found out when my mom's back, her response, you want me to make you something to eat? You hungry? You want me to make you something to eat? Did you just hear what I said? I said I talked to my mom today. You were about eating.
But now that she's got Kanan, it's like, she sees about Jukebox when she has time, when she has a moment. She looking for Kanan, and she talked to Jukebox in the interim.
Yeah. But
in the interim, she's not invested. To me, she doesn't seem very invested in Jukebox.
I agree with that, Cheryl. Rock she's very possessive, and when it comes to this business, she doesn't want any type of distractions in that business. Just like with Lulu in the studio, she's trying to get the studio out of Lulu's focal point so he can focus more on the business. Same thing with
Because she's
Marvin.
selfish as hell.
She's selfish, and she wants everyone to corral around the family business and only be invested in the family business. It's like these folks
That's a
can't have
fact.
a personal life. They can't have a personal life outside the family business unless she's paid for it. So I totally agree, Cheryl. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Everything is about Rock. Everything is about Rock's business. Everything is about Rock's money. And if you come in between that, she's gonna do anything to drive that wedge to push you away. And that's probably exactly what she did to Juke. Exactly. That's probably exactly what she did to Juke's mom. That's exactly what she's gonna do with Lulu in the studio. She probably got another plan for Symphony too.
I mean, what she's doing with the Italians, you know, those people can come, with their big guns and just shoot everything up. Your brothers could get killed. Your soldiers could get killed. Like the way you're coming into this game.
Your child could get killed.
Yeah. The way you're trying to do this thing is so dangerous, man. And the thing about it is you're good with strategizing at how to get those drugs sold, but she's not good in terms of defense.
Right, because them pink
she's not great at defense, because if she was, she would never have left Unique alive. Number one, she should have, at the very least, she should have broke his legs.
At the very least, she should have said, listen, if you want us to leave you alone, you gotta go. You can't, we can't coexist.
I mean, she should have removed his hands. You don't take people's entire stash. She should have removed his hands.
Well, that's
a hand. He took scrap eye for less.
And kidney. Yeah, because them Italian pink people that she's dealing with will call you a moolie in a minute and blow your brains out the neck. So she's working on a dangerous.
Yeah, and Juliana tells you that the dude is coming by there. She's telling you that the dude is coming by there. See, that's what I'm saying. She don't have no defense. And technically, she won't listen either because she got people in her camp that's defense. She's got an ego problem.
She does have an ego problem, and she feels like she's sitting up on her throne right now.
Untouchable.
Exactly, because
you're messing with the mob,
and she's not in fear of any type of repercussions for her actions. Y'all have turned this entire building into a crack house. Y'all have turned this entire building and remodeled and rearranged this whole New York Housing Authority owned building.
And you think you just gonna keep that empire without defending it to the T? Are you nuts?
But I will say this, and this is me. This is a way left field, way left field, because it still don't make sense.
We die together. That's right.
It still don't make sense, but it kind of goes back to what Dame said at the beginning when he said, "I think Rock got a plan." Because it kind of, if you think about down this again, we're going way left with it, but just work with me with this one. When Juliana told Rock, yo, your boy is still coming by here. He come in and out of here like he owned the place. And Rock was like, oh, well, that's just the game we play. That's not a normal Rock response, especially when she still got her stash. First of all, the fact that she went back and put her stash right back in that spot, that don't make sense. The dude.
Well, now she got a dude sitting on it though.
Right, but notice he didn't move. But he didn't move when Unique came in there. He didn't move, and you remember Juliana saw him when he left. There's a part of me that thinks maybe Rock is setting him up, and that's why she's being so reckless with the Italians. There's a part of me that feels like she got to be smarter than this. She's got to be, but then we are dealing with power, and sometimes we be giving people, the writers, too much credit. But there is a part of me that's like even what we said at the beginning. There's nowhere in the world that you don't second guess the fact that your stash got robbed. You don't it never occurred to none of them. I mean, it did because they said they shut the spot down until they figured out they did figure they had a leak. So, but why didn't y'all? I don't know. It's just weird, but. They telling on themselves. They giving too much away because the fact that Warrell walks away with not a scratch on him, that's gonna be the tell. But I'm skipping ahead. But I'm just saying, maybe Rock, maybe this is all the whole
I think
She
the biggest
setting it up.
issue
I don't
with
know.
Rock is her ego. Her
The
ego.
fact that Rock still drive around by herself. I mean,
It's
y'all
her ego.
remember the 90s? Y'all remember. Y'all know how drug dealers roll.
It's
Come
her
on
ego.
now.
Her ego is her biggest weakness.
I don't know
And
nothing
she-
about the drug dealers from the 90s.
Nor do I.
I dated them, and I know how they roll.
I was
Her,
8 in 90.
her ego.
Oh, you know what,
Wow,
Damon? You ain't gotta
completely
do that,
unnecessary,
though.
Jack
You ain't gotta do
Jordan.
that, Damon. You ain't had to go
Completely
there.
unnecessary.
You was,
Completely
Right.
unnecessary.
you was
That
8
was
and
just
90?
this damn respectful.
Me too.
Wow. completely unnecessary.
I think her ego is her biggest weakness. She feels like she
I
can't
agree.
be touched. She feels like she can't be touched. And it's just like in Power, Ghost was a great drug dealer, a great businessman, but his weakness was Angie. His weakness was his heart. His weakness was he cared too much about Angela. So I think we're seeing the same thing unfold with Rock, but just with a different vice. And her vice is her ego. She thinks that she's the smartest person in the room. She thinks that she can't be touched. She thinks that she can't be outwitted. And so because of that, she organically lets her guard down. When in fact she should be strengthening her reins right now. But she let people come and go through this stash house. Listen, first of all, why y'all keep having these meetings at the stash house? Y'all coming and going in this stash house where y'all selling drugs at 8. Y'all making too many appearances here. Y'all
And
shouldn't
now
even
that
be
body stinking.
Yeah, it got
They
bodies
should-
stinking in the building. Y'all are being seen too much at this dope house.
They shouldn't be like. First of all,
Shouldn't be there.
Rock should be nowhere near that building.
Nowhere.
Nowhere near that building. Marvin should only be through there once a month,
pick up the
once a
money.
week,
To
just
pick up
to
the
make
money.
sure everything is everything. But Rock should they should be no way, shape, or form after they got that place set up and Rock took care of the business and all of that of bribing who she needed to bribe. After that night they killed the damn super. She should have never been back in that building ever.
Exactly.
There's what is the whole purpose of setting this system up if you're still gonna be part of the day to day? You're supposed to be somewhere chilling, riding around in your Range Rover, shopping, following your son around, whatever. But you shouldn't be nowhere near that shit.
And what we see, they knee deep up in it. She in the building herself spraying aerosol spray and stuff, trying to figure out why the building's stinking. Do you forgot?
She
Did
know.
you forget that y'all
She know
kept
why the
why.
building's thinking.
She know why. She know why.
Her and Marvin are the only ones that know why. Everybody else is sitting there
That's
like, what
right.
the hell? But Marvin know why. She know why. Marvin know why. Lulu probably figures it out. He ain't stupid.
So they put Kanan up in the room and tell Kanan to stay in here. Kanan like, I don't want to stay in here. There stinks in this room. What's going on? He goes to try to discover the source of the smell, the bad smell. He finds a closet with a whole bunch of Nike boxes in it. What do he find in the box? Money. What does he do? Oh, I'm going to take some of this money. Like
He know
Kanan,
better than that.
Exactly.
He knows
You know
better
better
than
than this because you're creating
Somebody
problems
gonna
for the
pay a
family.
price for that shit.
Yeah,
Somebody, not him,
It
somebody
ain't
else
be-
gonna
it
pay
ain't
for
be
that.
him.
just like
Yeah.
somebody
Somebody
else
gonna
paid
pay a
for his
price for it.
consequences last season.
Right.
Nicole.
He knows that. Like you're not a novice to this at this point. At this point, you have seen firsthand how everything you do in this business, everything is a chain reaction. Is Newton's laws. You know, everything is an equal opposite reaction. So you know if you take this with however much it was only what $500, whatever it was, which I mean $500 in the 90s was more than what we would think of it today, but it's still it ain't you can get that from Rock. You could have for real, he could have went to Rock and said, yo, famous guy.
That was cash, $500 cash. Remember, prior to that, he stole drugs.
Yep.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And you know better than this. Like you know somebody would die behind this. And so, especially when you're in a situation where you literally can just tell your mama the truth and she will give you the money.
That's what I said last
You literally
week.
can tell your mama the truth and she will give you the money.
I knew drug dealers in high school, drug dealer kids in high school would come to school. First of all, they drove even when they didn't have a license, right?
They did facts.
and they always had money. Like they always bought their lunch. They always went out and got their lunch. Like they wasn't eating white bread sandwiches like me and the rest. You know what I'm saying? They always
And
had
they
money. Like
always
he
had
always
cash.
had access to money. Yeah. Why are you
They always had
stealing?
cash. Because going back to what Rock said, what Cartier said, what's the one thing you got more than you can cash? Every drug dealer person that I knew, hypothetically, they had more than enough cash, and it was always on them. If we went out to eat, it was on them. If we was at the mall, what you want? It was all because that's what they had. They had cash and they had access.
That's it. Always at the mall. Always with a new fresh this, fresh that.
Exactly.
So
We couldn't hang out at their house.
He riding the bus. He ain't driving. He not being delivered nowhere. He running after Famous instead of Famous running after him.
Correct.
And now you stealing from the family to get a Famous?
That's what I'm saying. You got more people doing, like when you made the comment about the soundboard to help Famous. I said Famous got more people looking out for him. That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And I'm
then Kanan got looking out for him. Yep. Then Juke got looking out for her.
Yep.
But I feel like Famous is gonna end up. I feel like Famous is gonna end up getting sent up out of here too, though.
I'm ready for him.
Famous is gonna die of a drug overdose.
Famous is gonna die, but Famous is again, he's gonna die later because he got to become a full-on crackhead. Famous is gonna die because he's gonna become a crackhead and he's gonna get desperate and he's gonna talk too much. Famous mouth is what's gonna get just like that song.
I don't know though, because Juke might be the one to get rid of Famous. That her reiterating that he got aggressive with her. No, more aggressive than usual. Kanan was like, he's always pushing up on you. No, this was different. I was like, oh, that's gonna be something. What? I don't know, but that's gonna be something.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Because they did make a point for her to say that. So you're right. That could be true.
Yeah.
So Marvin is trying to update Rock what's going on with this whole New Jersey situation. Look, we might need to put the brakes on this for a second. We hot. We don't got hit up. You know, we don't need to send them back up there. And she's like, forget that. Set up a meet. I'm like, that's your reaction to this? Like, you know, get the dude up here that got robbed. You know, let me question him. Like, who was it? You know, what did they say? Or whatever the case may be. But
that's why the more and more I think about this, the more and more I think maybe she is working on something. I don't know.
Not this angle. She may be working on.
I mean, she's taking a lot of chances, though. If she's taking a lot of chances.
There may be a bigger picture in her mind on dealing with her threats, but as of right now, she don't really know that Unique is the source of this problem that she's having in New Jersey. She just thinks this is just a new problem that comes with the job.
But I think she definitely suspects. She know that Unique ass was lying when he said he was leaving town.
Yeah. Now, that's her biggest misstep right there. She should have took him out the game. Or if I'm going to leave you alive, you got to leave New York tonight. You got to get up out of here. You going down south somewhere?
Yeah, I'm with Miss Honey. He was supposed to be touched.
Yeah.
If by her not punishing him, it just gives him time to lay low and build himself stronger. He's strategizing against her. I hope that she does have an ace in the hole. You know what I'm saying? Because unlike Rock, Unique ain't playing with her. He about that life.
Xavier, if we had not been introduced to Jukebox in Power and saw how she turned out, I would agree with that comment, but I'm going to have to disagree with that comment. She ain't running to God. She ain't running to the arms of her mother because she's more treacherous and murderous in Power than anything. So I think she's definitely going to get that killing spirit. And right now, Famous is in a killing jar. And he's going to be that jar that you put over that bug that you want to die a slow death. That's what Famous is going to be. And it could possibly be Laverne that takes him out. We're back at the bodega. Julia's sitting up in there watching TV again. She need to be watching them cameras.
He is so addicted to that damn Burke.
Well, she watching Young and the Restless. She need to be watching them cameras and saw Unique coming up to the door.
That's what got her ass snatched up the first time.
That's what got her ass snatched up the first time.
But I think she felt comfortable because she got security. At least she thought she did.
That's shit.
She thought she had security.
That security did shit for her. They need to fire him. So Unique comes up in there and just picking at the girl. I mean, that's just all he was doing. He was just picking at her. Like, yeah, I'm still out here. Yeah, you see me. I can come and touch you again, or whatever. The lady is scared. The lady is scared.
That was funny.
Going back to what you said, really be why Rock are you stupid enough to put your money back into the same place that just got hit the day before?
And I think that's what Unique was there to see. I think Unique went in there to see if Rock was still using the spot. I really think that's what his purpose was for going by there.
He was on a recon mission. Yep. So Lulu goes up to, and that lady's scared and she needs some protection.
Next time it's hit, it's probably going to be the Italians that hit her money.
Or what's going to end up happening is, and we saw this when Juliana had her conversation with Rock. Juliana ain't gonna put up with this much longer. This is
she said, "I'm not playing the game you playing."
Yeah, this is more than what I signed up for. She gonna end up telling her cousins them about what's going on, and they gonna get involved. Is what's going on.
Another reason why Rock should have handled it differently, because I would think they would be expecting for their family member to be taken care of, and she's not safe there. She doesn't feel safe there. She's been kidnapped. It was up to Rock to make that right. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't.
So we see Lulu meets up with Rock to get some more money, or to basically tell him, like, look, I'm short. I need some money. And she's like, your money, my money, or whatever the case may be. Going back to, not only is she working a side deal with Crown Camacho, but now she's got Lulu indebted to her. She's gonna take over that studio. She's gonna take over that studio.
She's gonna use it to launder her money. She's gonna get her lessons from Cartier, and she's gonna take his studio to launder the money.
Yep. But in order for that to work, y'all got to have some artists or somebody coming in there paying for studio time, because right now y'all ain't got nobody. Y'all ain't making no music. Y'all ain't got no distribution. Y'all ain't got nothing going on. Kanan walks up in the middle of their conversation, and of course they shoot him off. And that's another thing he's getting tired of, because before the family would kind of talk openly in front of him, now they're kind of stepping to the side and having conversations, and he's getting annoyed with that. That, y'all treat me like a little kid. Y'all rushing me off. So he ends up asking his mama, yo, Ma, yeah, I want to go see Uncle Vernon today, but that still don't answer my question. Well, why did you have me kill this cop? Why did you have me try to kill this cop? You said he was crazy, but I don't think that's enough for me to shoot this man. Like, he bold with it. Like, Ma, this shit ain't mathing. What's
Math
up?
ain't mathing.
The math is not mathing. And she come up with, and the crazy part about it is Rock lies so well.
She lied with a straight ass face, man.
Well, we saw by the end of the episode, it wasn't a good lie. It wasn't good enough for him to believe.
No, it wasn't. But in her mind, is a quick response.
It just shut him up. It just got him to stop asking more questions.
Yep. It did that conversation. That's all it did.
Yeah. The minute he saw she was gonna keep lying, he just let it go. I can't talk to you. I need to go talk to this man who say he my daddy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be the downfall of Rock. I'm telling you, we're gonna have something happen with Rock this season. And she may not get killed. I don't think she's gonna get killed, obviously, but she's gonna get humble. The way she talks to Lou, I mean, she's just right in his face. It's so what do you call it? Emasculating and
but that's how she's always been. She was like that with Marvin. The thing was, last year she didn't do it to Lulu because her and Lulu was on the same page. Lulu was her right hand, but she's losing him, or she lost him, and she knows it. So now she's treating Lulu the same way she treated Marvin. Because think about it, that's how she used to talk to Marvin as last year.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing. She emasculated Marvin last season. Now she's doing it with Lulu. So in other words, all she's doing is burning bridges. She's burning every bridge that she's burned her bridge.
That's a good point, Retro.
She's burned her bridge with Symphony. She's burned her bridge with Detective Howard that she could have handled a different way, because at the end of the day, that's your inside man. That could have been your inside man. You burn that bridge with him. You're burning your bridge with your child. You're burning your bridge with Jukebox. You're burning your bridge with your brother. I mean, at this point, you're alienating yourself. And then you got enemies on top of that. So, I mean, Rock, you need to get it together.
You burning your bridge with Juliana and her family.
Exactly. And that's where you get your work from, you know? So we had this meeting with the Italians, and she walked up just audaciously bold. Part of me respects the fact that, you know, she's a female. She ain't stepping down. She ain't backing down. So I like that. I like that aggressive side.
And she had another excellent Michael Jackson outfit on.
When it comes to her handling business, I like her persona. I like how she handles business. However, she doesn't know how to do things tactfully. She's just like, yeah, I look at your offer, considered, rejected. And, you know, Lulu's trying to be diplomatic about the situation and apologetic, and which I kind of agree with Rock on that. Like, listen, you know, we are here in these streets. You know, we're not going to beg for permission. We're not going to ask y'all selling drugs just like we are. We're not going ready to ask you, can we move here? I'm going to take what I want. Okay, so be a boss. I feel you being a boss like that. But these folks show up 12 deep. You show
up with you and
exactly
your two brothers.
Exactly. You ain't got no soldiers. Where your soldiers at?
You show up with your two brothers and then get into it with one of them, which shows y'all broke down, period.
The ascension in the group.
Right. It shows y'all not on the same page.
Yep. She be wearing them outfits. Yeah, she be wearing them outfits.
She needs someone to really mentor her. Like, her game is just off. Like, she knows the business side.
Which goes back to the Cartier connection. Maybe Cartier needs to become her mentor.
I gotta see him snap though first, and just see what type of dude he is, because I don't know. I kind of was expecting him to come along like old boy from the one that was messing with Monet. It turned out to be
Dante Spears.
Dante Spears. I said the same thing earlier. I think
maybe that's what I was expecting, but he comes across like a little bit more charming. But I wonder if he's gonna be that psychopath. You know, he looks charming, but he's really quite mad.
That's what Retro was saying. Retro was like, something about him ain't sitting right. Xavier, I'm gonna disagree. Like, I think you be so hard on people. I don't think it's a situation, because let's be clear, Lulu is still getting paid, even though he ain't showing up for work like he's supposed to be. He's not at the buildings like he's supposed to be, but he is still getting paid. Right. I just think that he's put so much money into that studio, he don't have a lot of liquid cash. And let's not forget, the man lost his house last season. He probably had to buy a new spot.
Almost his life too. That'll make you look at things differently too.
I don't think it's a situation where he just ain't working.
And he had a thought in his pocket too, because that girl was begging.
Right.
She wasn't laying up for free. She wasn't laying up for free, and he had a prostitute in his pocket too. So, you know.
Yeah, I just think he's pouring a lot of money into. I think because remember how much money he put in the studio last year? He put a lot of money into that studio.
And he's so different than he was first season.
Drug dealers don't have no savings accounts. They not investing in, you know what I mean? Like, it's money in the shoebox in the bottom of the closet. When it's gone, it's gone. And I just think he done dipped.
Too much.
Yeah.
So Marvin and him have a conversation after Rock getting her Range Rover and leave them. Like, yo, he's like, I know you not feeling this either, but you too scared to say something about it. You go with everything she said, whatever. So that's just, to me, further cementing the point that Lulu is getting further and further disinterested in the family business. But Rock ain't gonna let him go away quietly. She told him that last season when he tried to quit on her last time.
Definitely told him that.
You always in. So he know that he's married to the game. And so the only way he gonna leave is blood out. Because he don't put the blood in. He don't been burnt up, beat up, shot up, whatever.
Right.
You know, so the only way he out for Lulu is no happy ever after ending for him.
Yeah, he in bad shape right now.
Yeah, he in bad shape. And he want an ROI. And that's the biggest thing is he wants an ROI because he wants to be able to fight back. He wants to be able to argue back with Rock when she's, demasculating him
Right.
and telling him that he a hole on his knees, even a hole on his knees make money and whatever. He want to be able to say that the studio is doing this, but it ain't.
Right.
And it's not gonna because Crown is working with her to get him set out of there. Like everything good he does, Crown is gonna secretly undo it, and Rock is gonna fund it.
Yep.
He's gonna be crushed when he finds out.
Yeah.
Crown is gonna do whatever with whoever, with whatever, to be a nuisance to make this not work for him.
But I think, and I said,
but Rocky is too though. I mean, look at how much she's sabotaging a lot, man.
Yeah.
Well,
but he might kill Crown before Crown can let on what him and Rock is doing because the way he snapped on Crown and put that arm.
Yeah,
I was like, ooh.
That this was like a foundation episode. And I think what we're seeing is how everybody is going to turn on Rock, right? Lulu is going to find out Rock is sabotaging the studio or taking over the studio. I think Marvin is going to find out that Rock is the reason why Kenya left town. We know Kanan, he realizes that, you lied to me about my father and you really almost made me kill my damn daddy. Jukebox is going to find out, damn, you sent my mother away. Like we're seeing how all roll, like and I agree with you. I agree with you saying, Retro, that something's going to happen at the end of this, but she's not going to die. But something by the end of this season, she's going to, I don't know if everybody is associating themselves or what, but something's going to happen.
She's going to be humbled, like you guys said.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we at Famous's apartment, and I'm not going to be petty. I want to be petty. It's been in my mind all week that I'm going to be petty when we got to this scene, but I'm not going to do it. All I'm going to say is it's unrealistic. But Famous is having his housewarming party, I guess. And the guests are not showing up with food and potluck. They showing up with drugs and alcohol.
Listen, that's a 20. I mean, well, they ain't even 20. That's a 16-year-old housewarming. Right, that's a 16-year-old housewarming. What you gonna do?
A 16-year-old housewarming.
I ain't never seen no mama drop their teenager off at a house party.
But hold up, listen. Y'all mark my word. Something ain't right.
He's gonna end up doing the mama. He's gonna do the mama.
I don't even think it's. I think that's true, but I think it's deeper than that. Something about her ain't right.
Break this scene down for me, dear, really, because I got a lot of questions about this.
So the mother and daughter show up to introduce themselves and kind of warn them about, well, Mrs. So-and-so down in 402, she'll call the police. You might want to pull it down. They look in the house. Mama clearly sees it's a bunch of damn delinquents getting drunk, getting high. I know they smell the weed. As soon as you open the door, daughter says, "Mama, can I hang out?" And she says, "Sure." The fuck? But the look that she gives Kanan,
hot and ready,
it's like something about that mama that ain't right. And I don't know if they setting them up.
Yeah, they might be robbers. They could be robbers.
That's what I was thinking.
Setting them up.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know if maybe they're connected to the neighborhood drug dealer. Like, I don't know what it is, but and I'm gonna be honest with you too. I don't think that they don't know who Kanan is, because she was coming on real strong to Kanan, like off rip. I don't think she doesn't know who Kanan is.
She's Patrice and Mercedes. That mama is using that daughter. Right. That mama is using that daughter to trick her out with the drug dealers and stuff.
I don't know. I can't. I don't have that. I don't have that part fleshed out. But I do know that there's more to that than meets the eye. That's not no. That's not no. Just no. I just think it's more to it.
She's not a wholesome lady at best. We know that she's not a wholesome lady.
And and we got to go back to the source. But we got to go back to the source, and we got to remember that Camacho hooked him up with this spot, and he said, this is a dude who I let him and his lady use the studio for free. So we got to remember that there's an element in this that we don't know who this dude is that hooked him up, and we don't know Crown's full connection either. So I just think there's something there that we just don't know, but I don't believe that they don't know who Kanan is. I believe they know exactly who Kanan is.
That's why
and I just think it's something to it.
That's why the daughter pushed up on him so hard. And she asked,
Yeah.
"Do you have a girlfriend?" He says no. She says, "Well, you do now." So they running a scam on him. And it
It's
could
something.
be when you
It's
said
something
that just a
there.
while
I
ago,
don't know.
really, it really just unlocked the opening for Breeze. Because this could be Breeze. This could be the introduction
It could
to
be Breeze. Like, yeah, I mean, because everybody there's not one person watching this show that's not waiting for Breeze.
Yep.
Right? Everybody
And
is
to see
either
who he
waiting for
is.
Breeze to show
And
up
to
and we're
see
waiting to
who
find
he
out
is.
who Breeze is.
Yep. Is it someone that we already know? Is it someone that we already know?
I definitely believe
Is
it's
it a new
somebody we already know.
character? We're whatever it is, we're waiting to see who Breeze is. Is it a new character? Is it someone that we already know, unsuspecting, has been Breeze all along? So yes, and I think that whatever's going on in this building, when Rock gets wind of it that Kanan had been stealing money to help Famous get into this apartment, guess what? This is a new place for her to work.
Okay, so are we missing any characters? Any new characters this season? We got the singer,
I think
and
we
we
got
got,
everybody.
huh?
I think we've gotten all the new characters for this season
So
already.
we know we won't get Breeze this season.
Yeah, we don't get
Unless
them this
Breeze
season.
is already somebody we know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, maybe he hasn't become Breeze yet.
Exactly.
Facts.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, so this is what I hate. I hate it when we have these great ideas
And they don't come to fruition.
and either we don't find out what the real story is, we don't get a resolution. I hate that because it makes our conversation, gets me so hyped. And then we never get the answer. They never revisit that part of the storyline.
The fact that we come up with better ideas than the writers do, yes, it's
Exactly.
very frustrating.
They need to give the fans an episode. That's what they need to do. The writers' room need to give the fans an episode and say, "Here, the fans wrote this episode right here," because we give them better story arcs than what they come up with. So Palomar is something about that lady. She's going to be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's deeper than her trying to get up with Kanan. I just think
It's deeper than her wanting some sex from a
to me, that's just
15-year-old
too
boy.
easy. And like,
Oh.
it could be that easy, but it's just too. I think it's deeper than that.
That's too easy. She tried to get to that money. She trying to get to that money, and she know. And like you said, she know exactly who Kanan is and who his mama is. Palomar trying to get to that bag. So it's deeper than a hot mom and a hot daughter.
Right.
I love that name. Palomar. I was like, oh, that's a hot name.
They want more than wet asses out of Kanan, and they're gonna get more than wet asses from Kanan.
Why do you seem so angry, Retro, when you talk about this lady?
No, I'm not. I'm just. I can just foresee it. I can just foresee it because Kanan is so naive and he doesn't have his guard up. And
he's so naive.
Yeah.
Not the
if he thinks they're not going to figure out that he took that money and eventually those drugs.
I guess that's where I get frustrated at is at what point, Kanan, are you going to wake up? Like you out here trying to help Famous, you out here trying to learn the game or whatever the case may be, but you just like your mama. And someone said that earlier in the comments that Kanan is truly Rock's son because he moves just like her. He moves impulsively. And like
Cheryl, we that was one of our guesses too. Was that Breeze is unique after he reinvents himself? We thought that was one of the guesses that's out there too. Yeah.
Or could it be Warrell?
I don't know. I think Warrell is dead. I don't think Warrell make it out this season.
I'm ready for him to go too.
I think Unique does, but I don't think Warrell does. Because again, when Warrell shows up with not a scratch on him.
Yeah.
Again, I think Rock is moving sloppy, but I don't think she's moving that sloppy. I don't think anybody else knows about the bus. I think Warrell knows, Marvin,
that
Rock
was it.
knows. I don't think anybody else knows about that school bus.
Yep. And that's gonna tell on him. And they're gonna confront him.
And the fact that the first dude got pistol whipped and you didn't, they just let you off.
Yeah.
Like he should have punched him just for good measure. Like, I gotta make this look good.
Broke an arm or something. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about breaking my arm, but punching me a couple of times, okay.
But even though the scene with Palomar and her daughter was the most attention-grabbing scene, part of that scene, there's other things that were stewing that we know that Famous's house is going to be a problem. Jukebox goes over there, and even though it happened off camera, when she came out of there, she made a very big point to reiterate several times to Kanan that listen, Famous was a little bit more aggressive with me, pushing up on me or whatever. So we know that there's something going to come out of that. Crown coming up over there and sizing up all them underage girls. We know
that was creepy.
Yep, we know something's going to come out of that. We know something's going to come out of that. The fact that he gave Jukebox a new song that Lulu probably don't know nothing about, we know something is going to come out of that. So that scene right there, there's a lot of different things to look for on down the line in that one scene right there. So there's a lot of different things that we're going to see birthed from that one scene right there that's going to come out in the story.
Yeah, that was a real crazy set. That conversation with Kanan and Juke, the party, the Palomar situation. Like, I was like, what is this about to be? I don't know, man. But whatever it is, it's not going to be good. It's going to be pretty tragic.
Going over there at that apartment. Yep,
it's going to be tragic.
Yeah, it's going to be something. And that's where Famous might be unalive at right there in that apartment. So Detective Howard is back with Andrea again. We learned that he's been seeing this prostitute for 7 years, and he's never mentioned to her
that's kind of sad, but I'm gonna let that go.
That she's.
I mean, they go together.
Yeah, they're married. They're married.
It doesn't look like he's giving her much either. Like it looks like he's giving her like $220s or something.
I was thinking $50. I was thinking $50. Yeah, because he always puts money back on the nightstand. You know, he gives us a couple of bills and she go her way. But it doesn't seem like he actually should have paid her double this go round.
Well, maybe it's a la carte. Like if you, you know, maybe his tab goes up depending on how many dishes he gets.
Or how many services she provides.
Right. Dishes.
I got it.
Right.
But we said this last time they showed her, and pretty much she confirmed it is. He's kind of looking for her for not only for pleasure, but for
wait a minute. Cheryl, that's a good point.
Hold on a minute.
When you say, I'm sorry, Retro. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. No, when you say you mean that was mean to smoke him out as a traitor to us, or you mean Unique set Warrell up like that?
I think that's what it is. I think that's exactly what it is. When Warrell turned him down, when he met with Warrell at the Taylor store, and Warrell told him that he was riding with Rock now and that he wasn't going to ride with him anymore, I think the wheels started turning in Unique's head in that moment that I'm going to use Warrell not only to get information out of him about Rock, but to set him up to be the fall guy. Yeah.
But remember I said, I thought
you did
that he must have made some type of deal because as long as he kept Juliana with Juliana and Warrell.
Yep.
But then when he came back to intimidate her and she seemed genuinely intimidated.
I forgot that part.
I was like, oh no, maybe not. But the Warrell, I really thought that he had Warrell was working for, because Warrell doesn't like Rock and Nose. It's not just about the money. First of all, he couldn't really turn them down.
He had no choice.
Yep. But outside of that, he don't like them ninjas. He don't. He liked being with Unique.
Yep. And
he liked the way Unique did things.
Yep. And we forgot to touch on that part when he left the bodega. When Unique left the bodega, they panned to Warrell outside talking to Unique in the car.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think
that bodyguard should have saw all of that too.
But I think Juliana saw it. I think Juliana saw it.
I think so too.
Why? What makes you think Juliana saw it?
Because she watched him walk out, and then we saw him walk across the street to Warrell. I don't think she knows who Warrell is, but yes, she would know who Warrell is. Yes, she would. She would know who Warrell is.
The reason why I feel like she saw it was because just what really just said. They made a point to show Unique walk out of the store, and it almost felt like someone was following him the way the scene was shot. It almost felt like someone was following him out the store because initially I thought it was a bodyguard that was coming out to address him for coming into the bodega until they shot to him going to walk up to Warriel's car. So when she goes to tell Rock about what happened, she pretty much warns her about it was kind of like foreshadowing because she was like, he's playing games with you and you're not doing anything about it or whatever the case may be. So it's almost like Juliana was trying to let her know, peep her, just like that day she was trying to tell her about the whole situation with the rats eating the money.
Right.
Juliana was trying to tell her that, listen, you need to do something different than what you're doing because what you're doing, you think is working, is not working for you.
Right.
Which is kind of what brings me back to what
Mary J. Blige
Jack said at the beginning, that maybe Rock really is playing chess with Unique. She's taking a lot of chances if she
right,
is.
Cheryl. They froze the camera on that.
A lot of chances, but maybe she really truly is playing chess. Why? I don't know why she would feel like she needed to do that though. But it just doesn't. It don't make this one. Okay, y'all know how I feel about this shit. Like, don't play with my intelligence. Don't make Rock so smart and so cunning in 1 minute, and then in the very next season, you got her making rookie mistakes. Like, these are rookie mistakes that they're not being done for a reason.
Do you know what show we watching? This is Power.
I know.
Of course,
I know.
Of course, this is exactly what it is.
I know.
Of course, this is why we be so angry about these shows because they put so much investment into building these characters up that they're just untouchable.
Okay, but how many episodes is in this season?
10.
10 episodes. Next week, Sunday coming is episode 5, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this about the time it should start getting crucial conflict.
That's what they were saying. We need to see a change in Rock's movement.
We right at that place.
We're at the place where right now we need to see Rock's plan unfolding. Because
typically with Power, typically we get super duper frustrated between episodes 5 and 7.
Yep. Listen, if what you're saying really be, which I hope is the case, but I doubt it, if what you're saying is the case, we need to start seeing her plan unfold. Because right now we're assuming that's her plan. They haven't shown her.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'm not saying that is it. I'm with you. I'm just like, because that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. We know how these go. It's 10 episodes. So that was episode 4. This is episode 5. They're going to take a break. So we're going to have like a 2-week window. And I think when we get back, it's going to be boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And like I said, I do think Rock, I think this season ends with Rock back against the wall. And next season, she's going to have to dig herself out of whatever hole however that hole looks. I think at the end of this season,
you know what could happen? She's going to end up losing her work with them Colombians.
Yeah.
You want to go back and tell her cousin about how them folks been bothering her and harassing her? She's gonna have to end up going to Cartier for work.
I wouldn't mind seeing a season of her being in Lou and Marvin's place.
Yeah.
And one of them being the leader. I wouldn't mind a season of that, even if it was just a half a season.
Because the Limousine ain't gonna give her no more work.
Feel like I think the last 4 episodes. I think one episode. I think piece by piece by piece, each person is gonna confront her or find out what she did, like how she's playing puppet master in everybody's life. And I think I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be like this, but I can foresee, like in that final episode, Rock crying, sliding to the floor in the heat. You know what I'm saying? By herself in the house.
I think she's gonna have a JR moment. I don't think she's gonna die, but I think somebody gonna put her on her back.
It could be that, but I definitely feel like there's gonna be, I think in the final episode, Rock because all of these roles are leading to everybody realizing that Rock has played puppet master in their life. That
she ain't got nobody to run to,
and she's not gonna, because Symphony is gone. He told her this week. I'm not saying he's gone forever, but he's gone. And I think there's gonna be a scene of her calling him when she needs him and him not picking up the phone. Like, I feel like, I mean, I know this is before the days of caller ID and shit, but I feel like he's just gonna know it's her. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not picking that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I just feel like I see all that, because Symphony told her, listen, don't just let me go. Don't call me.
I really do like their scenes together, though. Their scenes together are always just really good scenes.
And Rock, again, I said this last season in the reviews. Rock
Thank you,
doesn't know.
Cheryl.
Rock doesn't know how to be a woman. She knows how to be a crime boss, and that's it. She doesn't know how to be a mother. She doesn't know how to be a lady to her man. She's aggressive. She takes aggressive approach with everyone. So
She
we are
just got to be in control of everything.
exactly
She got to be the number one. That's it.
we're
That's
going
all.
to see that moment. What you're talking about, what you're describing, we're definitely going to see that. Not going to have anyone to run to. She's
Yeah.
not going to have anyone to run to.
But to
I
be
want to know what's
fair,
going to happen when she finds out Kanan is stealing. How if she gonna do him like she do Lou
no,
and
It's
she's
did
gonna be at
Marvin.
least
gonna
two.
cuss him out, but she ain't
It's
gonna do
gonna be
nothing.
at least two people that die first before she find out it was him.
Right.
But I'm gonna say
She
this.
gonna do.
I will say this. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second. I agree with everything we're saying about Rock, right? But I think there's a part of her that is so hard because she has to be. She's a woman in a male-dominated field, and we saw last season how she doesn't get respect. Like like we saw how disrespectful Unique was to her. You know what I mean? So part of that hardness is because of the business that she in, and she has to be. And I agree that she doesn't know how to be soft. She doesn't know how to separate her roles. It's just she's hard all the time. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. She's hard. She's hard in moments where she needs to utilize her feminine wiles, and she doesn't take that to her advantage. Even just like when she was trying to deal with the super, she started off a little bit, but she ended rough. And the thing about it is, though, she takes that rough approach with everything she deals with, and she doesn't use the fact that she is a female to her advantage. So I think that's another part of her weaknesses that are being exploited because we saw what Unique told her last season, like, you're not built for this. You're not built for this.
Because he told her your weakness is gonna be your son. And it is.
It is. Yep. And the fact that she's telling a lie on top of this lie, on top of that lie, on top of this lie, on top of that lie to cover one lie.
Child, she know how to lie. Rock knows she know how to lie. She knows she know how to lie.
When she can just be honest with him, going back to what Miss Honey was saying, or I think it was you that was saying with Burning. Listen, Detective Howard is your father, but this is the reason why in the streets, I can't be associated with no cop. You can't be the son of a cop. Listen, the dude that was your father, I was his beard. She needs to be honest with him, and she'll have a different outcome with situations.
Yeah. And I think that's a situation where part of the truth would have sufficed. I don't think she needed to tell him about the beard part, but I do think she could say, "Listen, there's a lot. Like me and your father relationship was complicated." You know what I'm saying? But the part about
he did threaten him. He did threaten Rock. He did threaten Rock but I think that he wasn't going to necessarily carry out with the threat. I think he was just using that to kind of push Rock into telling Kanan that he was father. But he did threaten him.
And let's remember, the only reason why he was interested in Kanan last season was for the bone marrow.
Yep.
Now he really is, because he really wants a relationship.
So he had to come to Jesus moment.
Right. Last season, him and Rock probably could have worked something out.
Yeah,
because if they had really sat down and hashed it out, he could have said, "Listen, I just need to know if he gonna save my life." And she could have been like, "Well, listen, I don't need him to know nothing. So how can we do this where it's anonymous or whatever?" We talked about that last season. There was a way that they probably could have worked that out last season where it didn't have to come to that. But he didn't really give it. All he wanted from
his motive last season. Yep.
Was the bone marrow. Yep. Now Rock got a problem because he wants a relationship. He didn't want a relationship last season. He just wanted to know if he was a match.
And you got an even bigger problem now because you tried to take him out and did. So it's just like
you tried to use his son to take him out.
It's just like the mistake she's made with Unique. You failed to get rid of him, and you're leaving him around. You failed to get rid of Howard. You're leaving him around. So the problems that you were trying to eliminate, you've only made bigger problems for yourself with those same people that were a threat to you last season.
So she's gonna have a real big problem if Juliana's people show up.
Oh yeah, they're gonna show up.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna show up when that lady tell them about how scared she is and she done been kidnapped. Or they're gonna show up and she's gonna lose that work. And that's what she's gonna have to run the Cartier. She's gonna have to run the Cartier.
I really hope that this season doesn't let me down, like in terms of excitement. all of the elements are there for it to be just bang up.
What should have been, we should have, I don't know how we could have done this, and I think we would have been annoyed with this at this point if we didn't know who Cartier was by name. I don't know how they could have introduced the character without naming him per se, but it would have been nice if Cartier would have been Breeze.
Do we really? Nice. But the reality is, do we really know his name? Because y'all know that man's name ain't Cartier.
Just like Mecca was Dante. Just like Mecca was Dante.
I mean, that man's name ain't no damn Cartier.
It do sound like he gave himself that name.
Right. It that's do. Some old. Right. That's some old. You know. I always got. Right. I always got the best jewelry on. You know. Just before Jacob.
They call me Gucci Debonair.
Right.
I'm retro TV. Right. So, could it be that Cartier is Breeze?
I don't think so.
But listen, I don't know that to be. I don't know it, but I don't think so. But I don't know it.
I got to see it. I got to see how he snap out. Like I just want to see.
Yeah, that could be a shocker, but I don't know.
So Jukebox is back at Rock's house. She's in the mirror. She's letting her hair down, and now for once she's considering. Well, let's go back to her conversation with her mama. When she was talking to her mama, she asked her mama about the church thing. She said she was volunteer for the church and everything. Obviously, she knows her mama is a singer. So this is her attempt to try to. I don't want to come across offensive, so let me search how I want to say this. This is her way to kind of tap into her feminine side a little bit. Is this an attempt for her to be more accepted by her mother, or to go to this church, or whatever the case may be? Because we see her coming to terms with that. But it was the same thing that Crown Camacho and Lulu was trying to tell her, like, listen, you got this rough, tough tomboy look. You know, that's not going to sell R&B records, or whatever the case may be. So what is this that we're seeing with Jukebox in this scene?
I think it's for her mother.
I do think it's weighing on her what they said. She left in a huff. But also when Rock talks to her the first time, she's in the mirror and she's got her hair down. And she's looking at herself. You know what I mean? Like, could I do this? How can I do this and still be me?
Yeah. The only reason
she's considering it.
About the mother. The only reason why I say I feel like this is about the mother is because last season she wouldn't even do it for Nicole.
Yeah, but both things can be true. I mean, she's got a pretty mom too.
On, but she still had her braids. She still had her hair braided up and stuff with her.
But remember, she ended up wearing a tux. She wouldn't even do it for Nicole. She went to the store. She put the dress on. She just was like, "This ain't me." And remember, as she was leaving the store, she saw the men's side, and she got her a tux. And so. Yeah. The reason I agree, Miss Honey. Two things can be true at the same time, but that's why I feel like there's a part of that that's I found my mom. I want my mom to love me. I want my mom to accept me. She knows what happened with Marvin, right?
Right.
And Marvin ain't even in the church, so I think there's a part of her that's like, I can't give this to my mom. I can't
go to this church looking like this, right?
Right. I can't let my mom. I can't afford that reaction from my mom because then I have nobody.
Right.
So I think she's willing to play the part, so to speak, to try to get a little more information, get a little closer to her mom, and that doesn't mean she'll never ever do that again. But I think that's why I say I think this is about her mom.
But we do see where there are moments where she taps into that feminine side, but we know that she's not comfortable. When she went to Nicole's funeral, she didn't have a dress on or a skirt or something. She had a skirt or something.
No, she didn't. She had on pants. They rolled up in there in them Timbs.
No, she had on a skirt. She had on a skirt.
I thought she had on pants.
I thought she had on pants.
She had on a skirt.
Debbie said she had on a dress.
Oh, maybe she did.
But Cheryl said she had on pants. I could be wrong, y'all, because I don't remember.
Yeah,
You know,
she
I
had
ain't
on a
gonna go
dress.
back and look either.
But like I said, she still had her hair and stuff braided up. Just like this week, she's gonna have on a dress, but she's still gonna have on the Timbs.
Yeah.
So she doesn't know how to fully
Let it all go.
She doesn't know how to fully let it all go. She just knows how to put the pieces together. You know,
she may just be flirting with the idea of doing it here and there. Right. Maybe doing it to do a song. Maybe, you know, maybe I can do both.
Exactly what you said, really, be that's exactly what the reason is. That she knows that she cannot afford for her mom to disassociate herself because of her sexuality. So she knows that she's gonna have to present herself in a different manner going up into that church than she would anywhere else. So
she got a mask on reality right now.
Yeah.
Wow, Juggy, that's pretty good.
So Marvin's up in the stash house and he counted up the money, and the money is short, $600. Royale tells him, well, we used to do it this way, where we used to keep a little bit of money on hand or whatever. And he was like, is Unique up under the table? Is he up under your hat? Where is Unique? Because he ain't here. He ain't here. So why is you sitting here telling me what Unique used to do? Because this is what we do. Is he in your school?
Oh my gosh, it was such a good Marvin scene, man. Marvin is my MVP this season.
The real Marvin would say something like that too.
It was such a good scene. Like he's my guy this season.
I love
his
Marvin.
whole demeanor in the anger management with the legs crossed and eating the chips. You know, the shoulder pads.
When that white dude got in his face and he just looked up and he was eating the chips and he was like, okay, like
try it if you want to. Try it if you want to.
Right. Like I want to see how that work out for you.
Every time I see that jacket he has on, all I can think about is I saw you and him walking in the rain. He was holding hands and I never be the same.
That used to be my joint back in the day.
You know, she can't come to the house of the Lord looking like that, right?
Well, Mama was up in there with pants on.
Them ugly ass dresses, because good Lord, those dresses were hideous.
Oh man,
more of them praying grandmother too. I want to see more of that story unfold. Maybe we'll get it next season. Lulu and Cartier is at the studio and they toasting to some VSOP, fine dollar, high dollar cognac or whatever to the new soundboard or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, Lulu, you're an idiot. Like, you get deeper into a situation that you think that you're gonna come out on top. You're not. That whole studio will be taken away from you either by Rock or with Cartier. Somebody go. I said that from the beginning that listen, Cartier ain't sniffing around just because he want to be a good Samaritan. He's not a philanthropist. He is coming in there with ulterior motives, and he's an aid to you right now. But guess what? You're gonna have to pay the toll, and the toll gonna be too high for you to be able to pay
a piper.
Yep.
Rock doing the same thing to Lou that Lou did to Camacho. Camacho had a need, and he came in with the money and said, "It's mine now."
Yep, it's mine.
That's what she's doing. She's positioning him to ask for so much money to the point where he owes her, and therefore she's like, "I want the studio. It's my studio now."
Going back to, I mean, it's the next scene, but going back to Rock at this fucking stash house, getting money in an envelope to go look at this house or whatever. It is so unrealistic. It's poor writing, unrealistic, that she would put that money back there. The more and more I think about that, the more and more you're right, really, B. There either has to be an intentional reason for that or just poor writing, because it would make absolute no sense that her bodega that's compromised now, she's gonna go take the money right back to you. You already had two threats. One, the rats were eating your money. Second, Unique now knows where your money's being kept at, but you would still continue to keep it here. And you got all these apartments and stuff. You got all these other places where you can have them. You move the money from a place that nobody didn't even know where it was at last season to here where everybody on the show now know where you keep your money at.
Right.
Please,
I agree. I agree. and the fact that you would just walk up in there in the middle of the day, like you said, you ain't got nobody with you, no bodyguard, nobody to go in there to get envelopes full of cash to walk right back out the door.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Make that make sense. We talked about
she could pull up in front of the Basie. Okay, have somebody bring a bag of money down to her from the day's receipt.
Facts.
Throw it in the trunk and be out.
And where would you?
She doesn't need to be anywhere near the drugs or the money. Period. Period. You bring Symphony to look at a house. The dude already told you how to do the money. I don't know why you trying to buy the house. That house is not gonna. I don't know. It's just it's.
But this is what pisses me off. At least in power, even with Tommy's ambulance business, the car wash, the wash and folds, the club, we always saw that they had a place to wash their money. Last season, we learned that Rock sold hair. She sold hair. Where's the hair business? Where's the salon at? It's unrealistic that Rock would be in the business this long and not have a legitimate business to wash her money at. That Cartier has to come and give her this idea.
But remember, I don't think it's enough because remember how much her business has increased since she took over the building. I think she did have a legit place.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she did. The hair salon probably was good enough because remember when the realtor was like, well, I need, your W-2s and I need you to be able to show your income. And she was like, I can do that. So she clearly already does have something set up where she looks legit. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that it was so much so fast. Like you literally do have rats eating the money. You have nowhere to put it. But now that something you just said, though, makes me go back to maybe Cartier is Breeze because the fact that Tommy and Ghost always had a way to wash their money tells me somebody taught them that.
Yep.
Maybe it is Breeze because Breeze is teaching Rock.
And Kanan is learning from Rock.
I want it to be so. I want it to be true. I want to see our ideas come to fruition, our perspective.
Or at least part
I don't think we know. I don't think we're going to find out it's Breeze for a minute. Like I don't think, but it might be. It
To be quite honest with you, I think the only way that we get Breeze in this version of Power is with Ghost and Tommy. I think when they introduce those younger characters is when we get Breeze. Because remember, Ghost was the one who killed Breeze. So I think it's too early to introduce him to the story until we get until we get Ghost and Tommy. When we get Ghost and Tommy part of this version of Power, then we'll get Breeze. So,
well, let's put it down. Let's mark it down that this is the episode where we discussed it. Let's put a pin in it because I'm excited to see what pans out.
She wasn't washing money in the club. She was selling drugs in the club. She wasn't washing her money there at that club because she was trying to sell her drugs there. But yeah,
Xavier, you got a good memory, man.
Tony did mess that up. Because actually, to be quite honest with you, I really wanted it to be so because I was like, oh, this is another parallel to Power because Ghost was washing his money through the club. So I really wanted it to be that where Rockman was running the club, and I wanted it to be where Symphony was end up, becoming part of their drug organization. He was moving drugs and washing money through the club. I really wanted to see that side of it, but that didn't happen that way.
And Cheryl, that's a valid point. Because we know that there was dudes that was selling drugs in the 90s that still got money because they did, but the reality is, but everybody didn't. So I think both things are true.
So Jukebox and Kanan are having a conversation about their day, and I always kind of like these little scenes because it's like they both had their own adventures throughout the day and they kind of meet and kind of recap. This is what went on with me today. This is what went on with me today. They're both going through the same thing.
Jukebox is so much smarter than Kanan.
She is, and she moves so much smarter. Kanan really could learn something from his cousin.
He could learn something. I don't know why he's not hanging out with Juke. They just kind of
While he
recap
running
their
around with
night
famous,
at the
he
end
need to be
of
running
every
to
episode.
his cousin because his cousin she got it up here because famous is dumb as a box of rocks. And
But
all
typically, you're close with your cousin, right? Like
yep,
you and your cousin run together.
yep,
Y'all inseparable.
yep.
Kanan came back from Maryland's different.
Yeah, he did.
I
What
mean,
is
he's
this?
still riding the bus. I mean, he's not a virgin anymore. He slept with old girl last season.
Yep.
I mean, he
What?
was running drugs, and he came back from Maryland, and it was almost like he was middle school.
Well, it's because I think that time in Maryland kind of got all that out of his system. And when he was actually having a normal 15-year-old life, he was playing video games with his cousins, he was going to school, he was with a wholesome
Right, but season 1, he decides he's gonna kill this kid on the street. Remember, for selling on his mom's block.
But the other thing too,
Right.
remember in season 1, they had us thinking that Kanan was so smart, he was going into this. He was eligible for this accelerated program. So is it that he's book smart, but his street smarts is some shit? Like
I'm ready to meet her too, but I think we still got a ways to go with that too. But really, be quite honest with you, Xavier, I think that's bad writing too, because either should have been that Davita girl that he slept with last season, or this chick that he's hooking up with right now should be the baby mama.
It could be, but it still could be Davina. She's gone. That don't mean she's not pregnant.
But that ain't the same girl.
No. But I'm saying, remember, she just went into foster care. That don't mean she's not pregnant.
No, but the character in Power that we met, that was Sean's mama, her name was like Jaleesa or something like that. Or
oh yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
But it should have been her. It should have been her. It would have been better for it to have been her.
Right.
What do y'all think the end game, or what do you think is going to happen with this whole house that Rock is getting ready to buy? They're not going to live in this house like one big happy family. What is this house going to be for?
That's where she's going to be by herself at the end of this season. She's going to be sitting in that big ass house by herself. Kanan ain't coming.
Cooking dinners that nobody show up to. you know how Burke soul food that cooked that Sunday dinner that nobody showed up to.
Stephanie won't come over. She'll be sitting in that big ass house by herself.
With Sunday dinner on the table, and there ain't nobody show up for it.
Right. I'm telling you, it ain't gonna end like you think it is.
Yeah, because Symphony ain't coming, Kanan ain't coming, Jukebox.
She's gonna be like Monet. Everybody done turned against you.
Yep. You know what? That's what
she was walking around that joint like, yup. I'm gonna put my table here. I'm gonna give me some carpet. Like she's got it all worked out in her head, but it ain't gonna work out like she think it is. It's not gonna work out like that.
You know what? They're actually writing her character very similar to Monet, because she was so hard on the little daughter Diana. She was so hard on Diana. They're making her the same way, and we see what ended up happening with Monet. She got alienated by a whole family, so that's the same thing that's gonna happen to Rock. Yep. I mean, overall, a good episode. What do you think about the conversation with Unique and Burke? I wish Burke goes somewhere, man. I'm so tired of her.
Why do they do that?
Baby, it's a strange.
The only purpose, the only purpose of that scene was for us to see Unique setting up Warrell and setting up the bus, and us knowing that Warrell is snitching. Like, that's it. Other than that, there was no purpose of that scene. Like, Unique is not going to give you anything. He's too seasoned. He's too street. He's not getting ready to be like, "You're right. They set me up. Can you help me?" Like,
he's
what
not
do you
gonna
think? Like, you're not getting anything.
Yeah, he's not gonna snitch.
Really, you should do voices more.
He was flirting with her. Tomorrow, I can make you something that fit that shape a little bit better than that trench coat.
Well, Real is he's an ass.
Unique is
what
funny,
about that last scene? What do y'all think? What do you think made Rock real? Like, does she just know her son that well that when he was like, "I'm going to hang out with Famous," like, that's not out of the ordinary? What made her be like, "Yo, something ain't right"? I don't think he going where he say he going. Like, what made her follow him? What do y'all think? Like, because I was like, did he say something that threw you off?
It was his delivery. It was his delivery. He said it to her in a like, you know how you respond to someone when you really don't want them in your business and you really don't want to tell them your business. So you tell them what they expect for you to say or what you think they expect to hear, but really not telling them the truth. I think it was his delivery that.
I think it was his questions. I think every question he asks her lets her know that he's thinking about what she tells him and he's weighing it out. Because every question kind of pokes a little bit of a hole in the last lie.
Xavier. She's searching for something, all right. I'm sick
So
of her.
she's like, he's not letting this go. He's not my little 7-year-old that I can say, oh, that this is your uncle. He's got questions.
And I think that for Rock, she's afraid of what Kanan's going to do with it because Kanan is so volatile and he's so reckless. Like this has been a secret that has made her. Like she was able to be in the game and sell these drugs and be a crime kingpin because she was Defcon's old lady. So if that truth gets out, that just tears down her whole credibility, it tears down her whole organization. So I think she's running scared right now that what is he going to do when he finds out this truth?
He's not buying the BS. And she knows it. She knows from his questions. She knows because he's not going right back to being lovey-dovey. Like he's been suspect to her since she picked him up from Maryland.
Yep.
He got questions. It's only a matter of time. All kids gonna eventually find out your ish. You're not gonna still be able to hide it because they nosy, they inquisitive, they not gonna stay in their room. They, you know what I'm saying? You tell them to close their eyes, they gonna peek.
Well,
whatever you do, don't go in this room. They going in that room.
Right. It's an invitation.
Yeah.
So hopefully this week, I know a lot of people are still saying I wish JOJ was still on here because that was one of his frustrations. That a lot of people think that this season is slow. I don't think that the pacing is slow.
I don't think so either.
I think that there's a lot of other story arcs that have to be developed from that weren't introduced in season 1. You got to think about it. Whenever they introduce new characters, we got to spend some time with those new characters, or we're going to be frustrated with that. Just kind of like how we were in Forest, where they would just throw a new character in an episode and no development whatsoever. We've got introduced to a lot of new characters this season that weren't in season 1. Cartier, Jaleesa, Palomar, her daughter, Kenya. We've got a lot of new characters. The Renee, the whole therapy thing. So we've got a lot of different development that has to go on for all these new characters that they're brought in. So I think that's why the pacing seems a little bit slower than it was last season, because last season we only spent time with the family and that was it. That's all. This season, now we've got to spend time with the people that the family interact with outside of the family. So that's why the pacing seems to be a little bit off. But for me, it's perfect because they're developing these characters. I think this week we're going to see Rock or Kanan or somebody catch a body. Don't know why. It's probably going to be one of them Italians that going to push up on her or roll up on her, and she's going to dead them. So they're going to have some mother and son bonding time where they're burying their first body together. We're going to have a Tasha.
Who they going to bury? That's what I want to know. Who are they going to bury?
Probably one of them Italians. They're going to have a Tariq and Tasha moment where get out the peroxide and the toothbrush, and they're going to get rid of their first body together. And she thinks that's going to bring Kanan back in, but Kanan's still suspicious of her and know that my mom is alive. And I think ultimately what's going to end up happening, what I can see end up happening this season, is Kanan leaves the fold. Kanan leaves the family. He end up going and staying over there with Famous at that apartment is what I can end up seeing happening.
I can see that. Because again, he ain't moving into that new house. He ain't going.
He ain't going.
And I can see him moving in with Famous because again, that brings him in further contact with this mother-daughter situation. Yeah, yep. I see that. I can see that.
That's where that's going. Ultimately, at the end of this season, Kanan's going to say goodbye to Rock, and they're going to part ways. And Kanan's going to be out here pulling licks and doing hustles with Famous.
And now it makes sense because last season, remember, we were having a conversation about what could possibly happen to have Kanan working for the ops. Because we're assuming that Breeze is the ops, right? We don't know, but we know Breeze ain't his mama. And as hard as he was trying last season to get into family business. Remember, we were like, well, what could possibly happen because he's trying so hard to get into family business. But now we see what happens. We see how we see a path to that. You know what I'm saying? That's good. Yeah.
Yep, that's what's gonna happen. All right, so overall, not a bad episode. So I'm anxious to see what Sunday brings for us, and we'll be back on time this week, guys. So we'll be back Sunday evening to do our recap on episode 5. We appreciate y'all showing up on a Friday night, hanging out with us.
We're gonna have to need to do it in between the 4 o'clock game and the 7 o'clock and the 8 o'clock game. So yeah,
we gotta get the crew together. We need to go ahead and start those discussions now. We need to go ahead.
It's football season, and y'all know how I feel about that. So. Yeah.
We got to go ahead and start those discussions now because there's going to be a tug of war with the rest of the crew. But
football is the one with the helmet, right?
But I'm one monkey. One monkey don't stop no show. I'll be there though. As long as listen, I'll let you know what hours I'm absolutely not available. But other than that, I'll be there.
Just put the camera on and we can see you walk by.
Right. Just stop by Ray.
Cheryl.
That's right. I'm responding to her right now. No, we love you, chatty.
Cheryl, no. We want you to be chatty. We like that.
That's right.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, Retro's got some really good chatters.
Yeah.
Xavier is definitely the mascot though. He's the leader.
Yeah,
he's in charge of the girls.
Yeah,
right. Xavier is in charge of the girls.
Anybody with a memory like that, go ahead, put him in charge.
Because Retro is usually the one, but Xavier, I think Xavier got you beat, Retro.
Yeah.
They feed off each other, really.
Yeah, we feed off each other real good. We running neck and neck, but I'm going to go back and watch the episode, and I will give Xavier his top.
Because Retro will say something, and he's talking about something else, but it triggers something in Xavier, and next thing you know, he's dropping in the chat.
Because Retro be like,
go back and watch that episode and see if that girl had on pants. No, it's not.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that me and Xavier are right. Xavier says a dress, I say a skirt. But either way, she didn't have on pants.
Yeah, I feel like I remember a black skirt now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe y'all. I just thought that she had on pants, but I believe y'all that she
wear a lot of black slacks too, so I don't know.
Yeah, she probably did dress up for the cold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she probably just she still had her hair braided though, but yeah. But anyway, we'll be back on Sunday, guys. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Cheryl, we'll look to see you back. So welcome.
Yeah, Cheryl, you gotta come back.
That's right. We welcome to see you back. All right, guys. Well, we'll see y'all on Sunday.